want you to take a look at how your disciplines have been this month. Are you on fire that you're walking in to the person you want to become, or have you defaulted back to where you were the end of last year, most of last year? See, we have to take a look at it. A lot of people set resolutions, and resolutions don't work. You have to understand the goal achievement process. The goal doesn't happen by accident. Goals happen by an exact science. And we have to put attention on the goal, but we also have to put attention on what we're going to do differently to achieve a significant goal. You know, goals are so important. And I think at a young age, everyone's taught, have goals. At least most people are. I know I was. But I was never taught the actual science behind it. And the goal achievement process is an absolute science. You have to know what you want more than anything else. What is it that you want more than anything else? I can't state that enough, because most people are setting goals and they're measuring them based on what they did at the end of the previous year. I can set it based on improving 10% more, maybe 15% more. But you never want to set the goal that way. Your goal is always set not based on what you did before. You want to make it completely detached from the past or what you're getting in the present. You want to set the goal based on what you really want, how you really want to live. And just because you didn't do it last year doesn't mean you're not going to master it this year. You may have had a 50% commitment, but this year your why is so damn big that it inspires you, that you're so inspirationally dissatisfied that you're not going to go back, and you're going to be 100% committed at your future self. And we got to understand that statement. For me, everything is driven by the goal. My future self is driven by my future goal, how I'm going to live in the future. And that means I have to be 100% all in committed at that future self. See, so you can measure January and say, was I even thinking about the person I had to become, or did I default back and went into what was comfortable? Now, most people are not willing to fail. And if you look at the rocket fails 90-some% on the way to space. And well, that's the same as the goal achievement process. You're always failing your way to success. And the real, elite level, world-class performers are investing in failure. They have a great attitude towards failure. Like, I have a tremendous attitude towards failure. Now, I didn't always, but now I do. Because I know you learn much more from your losses than you do your wins. Every elite performer, they don't care about failing. They know they're going to fail. But they don't look at it as failure. They look at it as, where do I have to adjust my plan? Where do I have to continue to get better? But the people who are defaulting back to their old self, they're saying, oh, I'm not going to try this anymore. Like, I tried it, it didn't work. Let me go back to what's comfortable. We have to be willing to fail at our future self than succeed at our past or present self. If you can continue succeeding at your past or present self, you're not going to get more than what you've already gotten. And we have to constantly keep reinventing ourselves and transforming ourselves. Like, your goal demands a language. Winning is a language. And I can always see where somebody's going by default. I can see where I'm going by default based on my language. Is my language on what's missing, what currently is, or from my future self? I make it an obsession to have my language be congruent with my goal, my future self. And the future always drives the present. People always ask me, how was it that you created freedom from being in such a bad spot? And it's a great question. Number one, I was so sick and tired of being sick and tired, and I was so inspirationally dissatisfied that I wasn't going to do it anymore. I remember I was studying this philosophy for 3 years and not creating any results. And one day I was reading a piece by Abraham Maslow, and he said 2% of the population really uses a significant portion of their potential. 98% aren't even close. And I thought, oh my God, that thought scared me, because I knew I was part of the 98% that wasn't using their potential. Because if I was using my potential, I would have been betting on myself in a much more significant way. I wouldn't have been in such a poor financial position. I wouldn't have been overweight. There were so many things that I could look at. And that was a moment, I always talk about philosophy changed my life. Well, that was a moment that I decided to change my philosophy. A change of philosophy is a change of your future. My philosophy changed, and philosophy is a way of being, a way of thinking. It's automatic. And I studied people I admired, and I would study their philosophy. How is their language? What type of books do they read? What type of actions do they take? What type of mentors do they have? And I mimicked it completely. I got the right mentor. I started reading the right books, and I went all in at the person I wanted to become. I really went 100% all in at my future self. But even when I was losing, my language started to change. That's why I say language is so important, and winning is a language. You know, freedom is for everybody. Everybody has a right to be rich. Everybody has a right to be wealthy. Everyone has a right to be happy. Everyone has a right to have successful relationships. But freedom isn't free. You have to pay the price, and that price is, am I willing to dedicate and build my identity? You know, you have to build your identity if you're gonna make 2024 the best year of your life. It's not gonna be the best year of your life if you're keeping your old identity. So when we look at this, you can see it so clearly where somebody's going by the type of actions they take. If you do the right actions and measure your daily processes, you're gonna win by default. That's why it's so silly to every day look at our results, because you know what your results are. What you want to look at is your processes, and am I really activating it with more confidence, more swagger, and doing it in a certain way. When you do it in a certain way, you're getting better, and it's a completely different process each day. And so we want to take a look and look at your wealth in terms of prosperity. A lot of people come to me and say, can you help me earn more income? Well, you know, money is the easiest thing to upgrade. All you have to do is improve your service. You have to improve your ability to do what you're doing. It's so simple to create a greater level of income, because all you have to focus on is what can I give better, not what I can get. And the more we put our heart into giving, you're operating on a completely different frequency. And the higher the frequency, the better the ideas, the bigger the ideas, the more the service, the more you get rewarded in harmony with that service. But why we want to make these goals so locked in your mind, whatever idea we focus on is literally a spiritual seed that we plant inside of us. And once you make that the dominant idea, it alters your vibration, and your vibration dictates what you attract in your results. So take a look at your results right now. What are you consistently seeing? And if you're really winning on the outside, it means you're really winning on the inside. If you're losing on the outside, I promise you, you're losing on the inside. So you can change that, because everything comes from you, not to you. Wealth comes from you. Wealth starts with an idea, and everybody has a right to it. But we have to create a significant identity shift and define what are the identity-based behaviors, what are those automatic habits that your goal demands that your future self would have. And you write them down, and you write your top 4 down, and you focus on number 1. And you get so locked in on number 1, where you're laser focused, where you continue operating from that identity-based behavior until it's harder to do than not to do. That's when you know. Then you go to number 2, and you do the same thing. Then you go to number 3. 4 new identity-based behaviors in 1 year will create a 10x jump in terms of results. So you got to really get into studying your craft every day, your ability to master your craft. Read books, get the right mentors, because that's what your goal is going to demand. There's no shortcuts to success. The greatest shortcut to success is thinking. You think your way there. Every thought is a currency. So what do you need to adjust? Now we're almost, at the time I'm recording this, 1/12 of the way done with this year. So how was that first month for you? And don't let it keep going into the second month if you're drifting. Get really locked in and focused, and understand this will be the best year of your life if you're willing. You've got to constantly ask yourself, am I willing? Am I willing to change my language even though I don't see it? Am I willing to create greater discipline than I've ever created? Am I willing to get out of my comfort zone? These are the identity-based behaviors that are going to create a massive quantum leap in your results, in your income, in your health, in all areas of your life, but definitely your mindset. Every behavior follows the story you have towards that identity of yourself. You're always walking into your narrative. So how do you see yourself? Create a big identity for yourself. You are God's highest creation. You're infinite. Infinite cannot lose. Infinite always wins. Your spiritual DNA is absolutely perfect. So get the right image of yourself, and you're going to create a much different story. Now, if you're sitting there right now, what should I do? I've got to get really locked in, and I've got to shut off the distractions, and you've got to make an irrevocable, committed decision to yourself. A no shit, no kidding. I am going to refuse to let myself get distracted. And I'm going to refuse to allow anything from the outside world to disturb me. This demands focus. Focus is the greatest work habit we can develop. Focus is held by your will. Your will is one of your highest faculties, where you don't allow anything to distract you. And you want to master these faculties. Your faculties are the cause of the good you desire. They create your environment. They dictate your emotional state. So if you're up and down, you're not using these higher faculties. Now, the will is one of them. You know, you have your perception. Your perception is how you look at the world completely different. I want you to bulletproof yourself, that no matter if you have a setback, you look at it as a good. Bulletproof everything in your favor. As you start building your perception up, you're going to see a whole different world. Your world will literally be different, and it'll change your whole life. You know, your imagination, you're always using. Most people don't know it. They think only when I visualize I use my imagination. You're using your imagination all day long. Your imagination is activated by any idea you accept, consciously or unconsciously. And as soon as you accept it, it goes right into your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is your powerhouse. It creates 96 to 98% of all of our results, perceptions, and behaviors. So you want to start studying these faculties, and you want to start using them for you. I just went over a few, but they're dictating your environment. And if you watch anyone who's really winning, they're using their higher faculties for them. The challenge is, if they've never heard these words, they're unconscious competent, so they're going to have a hard time duplicating them. We want to be a conscious competent, so we know what we're doing, why we're doing it, and how we can keep activating it over and over again. See, success comes down to three easy basic rules. You have to define exactly what do I want. Now, if you ask 100 people, 95 out of 100 have no idea. And you're gonna have a competitive advantage in the marketplace by knowing exactly what you want. Then number 2 is determine what is the price I have to pay. I have to surround myself with high achievers. I have to surround myself with a better environment. I have to elevate my standards. I have to release worry, doubt, and fear. I have to build a new identity. And then the third step is, now you've determined what it is, are you willing to pay the price? Now, I think it's an easy answer if you really want more for your life. Bet on yourself, pay the price, and you're gonna create a significant life in 2024 that's gonna springboard you in 2024, in 2025, in 2026. I've been studying this for 17 years. You know, I'm 47 years old. You know, I first started studying it, I would say I was more really not studying it, so I don't consider it when it started for me. But I really started getting introduced to this when I was 28. But I didn't take it serious until I was 30, almost 31. And you want to learn from my mistakes. My mistake is I wish I would have taken it serious right away. I promise you this, if you bet on yourself, it's going to change your courage, it's going to change your bravery muscle, and it's going to create such a strong foundation for you. But no one's going to bet on you until you bet on yourself, including the universe. And the universe wants to serve you, but it can only serve you when you get out of the way. And by getting out of the way, we have to feel worthy of the good we desire. I want you to watch this over and over again. Even if you're crushing it in January, keep watching it. I want you to get into upgrade mode in everything you're doing. We can always get better. We can do more. We can be more, and we're gonna have the great rewards. And I promise you, it's worth watching over and over again, and make repetition your best friend.